Hello YouTube, and hello Internet, and especially hello to Bg.n. Today's a very special day. It is Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. It's just about 8 p.m. I wanted to record this earlier when it was brighter out, but I had to go out to the store. I've been trying to not go as much as possible because, well, there's a pandemic on, and unfortunately I just had too much work and had to go to the store later than I intended, which means I had to come home and sanitize and shower and get all spiffed up so that I could do this video. Today's a very special day. As I said, it's April 21st, and 10 years ago today, 10 years ago and about 4 hours, Bg.net went live. I don't think that was the first time that somebody signed on who wasn't me, but that's when I first put the forum up online. And I had registered the email, or I had registered the website in October of the prior year, I think, but I hadn't done anything with it. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So finally I figured it out, and I put the original forum up on my web host, and it went live online on Wednesday, April 21st, 2010 at 3:50 p.m., which means it has been alive for 10 years, 4 hours, 18 minutes, 5 seconds. The original site looks just like this. Well, hold on. That's zoomed in very far. This is the original Bg.net forum. This is what it has looked like for the last 10 years. And as a special 10-year anniversary present, it now looks like this. I have finally upgraded the forum, and Sarah EL, who is a member on our site, was nice enough to create this new logo treatment with this beautiful butterfly. There's a slightly different one if you are using a different style, but this site has always used some shade of purple as the default, so that's always seemed appropriate to me. So here, there's a brand new Bg.n forum with all of the same content as before. Hopefully people will come back who have drifted away. I'm going to send an email out to everyone and just note the anniversary and welcome them back, and invite them to come visit and see if there's something new they'd like to share. 10 years is a long time. 10 years is perhaps longer than I have done any one thing that isn't raising my kids to be good adults, right? Let's see, I have lived in 4 different homes, though I've only made videos out of 3. I'm on my 5th job since I started Bg.n. When I started Bg.n, I was single. When Bg.n went live, the forum went live, I was just about 6 weeks past signing my divorce papers. So I was single, and now 10 years later, I am single. But in that intervening time, I had a really fantastic love story with someone who's very special to me. Let's see, as a result of Bg.net being the administratrix extraordinaire, I've had a lot of opportunities. I initially started making these YouTube videos as a way to draw people to Bg.n, and that tiny slice of YouTube, space, afforded me enough sort of niche notoriety and a skosh of very, very specific celebrity in very small spaces. Enough that like at trans events, I will be recognized sometimes for having made these videos. There was a period of time where people would come to me to ask questions about being by gender. And as a result of these videos of running by gender.net, I was invited to speak. I was invited by Yale's LGBTQ co-op to come out to Yale and speak to them. That was a really awesome experience. I was able to, I spoke on a panel at DashCon. I had some like mild success on Tumblr. And Tumblr is enormous. It's like 40 million people use Tumblr. So there is no way to get like legitimately Tumblr famous. Like you're always in this really tiny corner of this really giant room. But in that little tiny corner, I was known and people listened to me. And I was able to, you know, speak out against some of the like gatekeeping and trannier than thou type mentalities. And, you know, I was able to, I think, reassure some people who were uncertain and help people who needed help, and just sort of be a voice that people listen to. And I owe all of that to having founded bygender.net. Bygender.net created a place for me to explore who I am, to safely express, you know, all sides of myself at a time that I was very scared or gun shy about doing exactly that. My marriage ended in part because of my transness, and you know, that was really hard for me. And so Bg.n gave me a place to find a community who would, you know, help me and provide the support that I needed. And I could explore what it meant to be by gender. And I gave a place to other people to explore what it meant to be by gender for them. I learned so much more than I ever taught. And my horizons were opened in a lot of ways that they never would have been had I not started Bg.n, had I not been able to be a part of this community. I thought I had a pretty good idea of what bigender meant. And it turns out I did. I had a really good idea of what bigender meant for me. What I got to learn is that it is, like transgender, it's a word that has enough space within it to mean different things to different people. A lot of people, it turned out, identified as bigender, and some of them identified as bigender because they were part of healthy multiplicity systems or plural systems, meaning they had multiple people in one body, and sometimes those different people were different genders, and the body was just the assigned sex it was. And so at least one of those people in those personalities in that system was experiencing dysphoria because their body didn't match what society told them their gender should dictate, right? I had the space to, you know, explore the fluidity that I felt in myself, in my own sense of gender, and the way that I located my gender on the gender map that, you know, is described by our social structures, right? And along the way, I was able to figure out that ultimately I'm not bigender. I am a binary trans woman, but I don't know if I would have gotten there and felt comfortable and safe to be me and explore what that is for me to be a binary trans woman, had I not had the safe community of bygender.net. And I've heard that over and over, and it's really been a wonderful experience to be a part of the community and to be someone who could provide that same support to brand new people that others provided to me. And, even if I'm not by gender anymore, it was a really important identity for me, and it's still something I consider part of my history. Um, and, like 10 years ago, if you had asked me if I would be working as a woman and living as a woman and change my name legally to Bryn and have bottom surgery, I would have told you that that was impossible. That was not something I was allowed to have. That was not something I was allowed to want to have. I had just started hormones in September of '09, and this launched in April of 2010. So, like, that felt like an enormous step. And it was. It absolutely was an enormous step at that time. It was just the first step on my journey, and Bg.n has been a companion to me on that journey all along. On the first birthday of Bg.n, I installed the Bg.n journals, which was an installation of Dreamwidth, which is a variety of, it's a fork of the live journal code. That's under active development and is really cool, but it also requires, as a community, a certain critical mass of users. And the journals just never got there. There was only ever, maybe 3-4 people using it in any given month. And of course, those people would change out. It was also a really, really difficult code base to maintain, and it required me to have a wholly separate server. So there is a computer in my house that ran for 9 years straight across multiple houses, and provided all of the web service for Bygender.net forums, for the Bygender.net journals. And honestly, it's kind of on its last legs. And it was, because the Dreamwidth code was so hard for me to maintain, I didn't keep it updated. And there was this stacking effect of the journal code needed to be updated, but in order to do that, I had to update the Linux that it was running on. And then in order to do that, like, I had to make sure that the journal code, like, got to a certain, I had to, like, keep leapfrogging it, and eventually I just lost, I lost the thread. So the software didn't get updated for maybe 5 years, 6 years, and eventually everything was out of support, and I couldn't update the forums until I updated the Linux that it was running on, because but I couldn't update the Linux until I had the proper update code for the journals. And I had actually tried, my hair is a mess because I just took a shower, but I had actually tried to update it several times, and it just broke multiple times. And so eventually I just sort of gave up on it. But it's 10 years, and like I said, that server is sort of dying its last death. So I finally decided that it was time to retire the journals and go back to having just the forum as the main interaction point for the Bg.n community. And that's what it has been all along. Most people were just coming to the forums anyway, but now when you go to the front page of Bygender.net, it will automatically send you to the forum. It's not going to stop you off at the journals. I will put that server back online shortly with a new domain, so that those people, and I will send a notification to everyone as well, those people who did create a journal, who have content there, can export that out to a Dreamwidth site, to actually dreamwidth.org, or a different Dreamwidth code-based site, or just download it so that they have it for their own records. I'll put that back on, I'll leave it on for 30 days, and then I will retire it forever. That was a lesson learned. It's honestly something that should have been retired 5 years ago. It never caught on, and I really wanted it to. I think when I started it, I just really missed LiveJournal, but I was apparently the only one. So going forward, we will have the bygender.net forum. That will be the main place to interact with people. There's a little chat box in there so you can do some live time interaction. There is a bygender.net Discord server that I created. There are widgets, so I'm going to see if I can find a way to embed or link or somehow attach the Discord server into the bygender.net forum code so that those of you who prefer using Discord or doing video chats or voice conversations, there'll be a place to have that kind of a community too. I've put it out there a couple of times about sort of what would people like to see, because forums aren't particularly a popular way to interact online anymore. Not for anyone under 30, basically. I haven't quite figured out what I want that, I haven't gotten a lot of suggestions that I think are likely to overcome that same critical mass situation with having enough users. I did have a wiki in place for Bg.n a number of years ago, but it never got used, and there was a code update that broke access to it, and there was no data lost. So if you have suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Reply to this on Twitter or in the Facebook Bg.n page, or on the bygender.net journal, bygender.net forum. But I am really truly grateful for the community that grew up in bygender.net. I am eternally grateful for the lifelong friends that I have found there, who found me. I have had the opportunity to be mother to some baby trans girls who have grown up into fantastic women. I have been lucky enough to be a sister to many and a friend to all. And honestly, even if no one else gets anything else out of Bg.n, it has given me so very much that I can never ever repay. And so happy birthday to the forums. Happy birthday to all of the Bg.n members in any flavor and form that you have participated. If you haven't been to the forum in a while, I hope you'll come back. Let's make the next 10 years something really special. And if you have ideas and ways for us to grow and be relevant, and ways that I can make it easier for people who are just discovering themselves to figure out who they are and who they want to be and have a safe home to figure all of that out in, please let me know. There is nothing I would like better than to continue to make a home for those who straddle the gender binary, and just for people who explore gender in all of the weirdest, quirkiest, corner cases, and who aren't satisfied with the gender they were assigned because they know that that's not what's for them. And, I just thank you so much. Happy birthday. And I look forward to the next 10 years. Thank you.